Welcome to part two. We're joined by James from Essex, currently living in Manchester. How are you doing, James?
All right, mate. All right. Not too bad. I'm enjoying this.
Hey?
Been enjoying this, mate. It's good.
Yeah, well, you like a bit of a laugh, don't you, James?
Yeah, I do indeed. I do indeed. Yeah.
Wrong with that, kid, not wrong with that. But a few flowers on background for my mum in case she's watching. Uh, the Dennis McCann situation, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
hmm
But the more I look at it, I think people, they've got short memories because when Crusher Ben tested positive, Bricktop were coming out screaming it from front rooftops, weren't they, about where's the B sample and all that. We all remember, don't we?
Yep.
We're not
Yep.
getting that same. We don't. I'm not seeing the same energy from Bricktop now about
Well,
B
no,
samples and stuff like that. Are you?
no. He's a hypocrite. Do you remember as well? Slightly off subject. Do you remember as well when Eddie Hearn moved over to the zone? He was there going, "Oh, well, he's on the app." He was sitting there smugly grinning at every opportunity, going, "Well, he's on the app. He's not going to get viewers." Now he's signed up to the, you know what I mean? He's a hypocrite in everything that he does. Absolute scumbag. And it's the truest statement Chris Eubank ever made when he basically called him out on it. So, yeah.
Well, listen, it'd be a very easy one to defend that. You'd have to determine. I spoke to some legal people regarding this. You'd have to determine what he meant by scumbag, but
hmm
he'd have to admit what fighters he'd ripped off and all that, and it'd be very simple. You don't have to get the Joe Calzaghe one up, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know what happened with that one, what don't we, with the Bernard Hopkins, was it? The Bernard
hmm
Hopkins money.
Yeah.
So he lost in court, didn't he?
Yep.
Right, and we know what the judge said in court, and he's summing up. But it wins some or some Welshman or whoever the judge was, it's online. Very, very simple. If he were referring to Matchroom, he'd only have to get Barry Hearn's case with Steve Collins up, where he had to pay Steve Collins £1 million, didn't he?
hmm
The court transcripts all online, so I don't know why Eubank could be worried. I won't bat an eyelid about taking them lot on me. It'll be
No.
very, very easy, but it's boxing, it's the Wild Wild West. And I'll just get Curtis Woodhouse has got framed checks on his wall in his house that
Yep.
about 15 grander that bounced from them. Well,
hmm
that's scumbag behaviour, isn't it?
Of
Bouncing
course it is.
checks, eh?
Of course it is.
When a man's done a 10-week camp and spilt blood, sweat, and tears in ring for free checks to bounce, eh?
Yep.
Pop, pop, bang on that one, Bricktop.
Yep.
Uh, Bricktop's the main man at the moment. He's boxing, and there's a part of me that gives him a little bit of respect. But also, you've got to look at it like this: if they can get out of any tight situation and hide behind lawyers or anything, they will because it's wide open. I mean, you've got these Saudis that have come into boxing, right? They've basically just they've bought everybody, and they've got a piece of they've got a sorry, they've got a seat at the table, haven't they?
Yeah.
Right. But what I think's happened is this, right? I think that Turkey, for the last 2 years, he's had a good look at them all. Who's the swingers and shakers and movers? And he's thought, now. He's looked at Eddie Hills with his Fantasy Island stories about being this superhuman, super heavyweight that were ripping through division. He's looked at him and Spotty Frank Smith and thought, these are not for me, they sell the souls.
Yeah.
He's probably looked at all the rest of them, Bricktop. He's probably thought, now these are not for me. That's what I think. He's looked at Shiraz. He was sold a load of pony with that one, wasn't he?
hmm
About him being this new Tommy Earns, he's probably thought, oh, no. That he ain't for him, Shiraz. He's found out now. They're queuing up for him now. Matchmakers are going to struggle with him now. That's why you're not hearing
Yeah.
anything. He's looked at
Exactly.
a lot of them. He's looked at John Fury nutting that member of the 06 team. He's looked at Tyson, who's been flogged twice by Usyk. He's looked at Joshua, this commercially viable guy that does loads of tickets and puts bums on seats. He's looked at him and thought, he's finished. One little tap on
Yeah.
chin and he'll collapse. So Eddie don't bring notes at the table. He's looked at Crusher Ben and thought, well, you've never won a belt. He's looked at the whole lot of them. He's probably looked at all the media, all liquors, and he's thought,
Yeah.
wow, what have I got involved in here? So
And he's
what he's
probably,
done, he's gone with a guy that's never been involved in boxing as his partner. So he's now got a guy that's never had anything to do with boxing promotion. His UFC,
no.
Dana White. He's jumped in with him, and that's the right slapping face for them, lot, isn't it? I mean, you've got
Yeah,
the cream of
cool.
the crop. Right, listen to me, James, right. You've got the cream of the crop here. Oscar De La Hoya, who's probably got a bit more integrity than the rest of them. He's looked at Oscar De La Hoya, Arum, all of them. You've got top rank, Bob Arum. He's 94, he's finished. Don King, you don't want to work with. Eddie Hills, who has he got? And then he's looked
Yeah.
at Bricktop and he's thought, maybe it's not the way forward. If it were the way forward, he'd be in bed with Bricktop and Eddie, wouldn't he? And Oscar De La Hoya,
Yeah.
top rank. But he's not in bed with them no more, is he? He's like,
No.
thank you, I've had a good look at you, but no thank you. But the USA and England's where boxing's at. Forget all that other stuff. He's looked at the big four, Golden Boy, top rank, Queensbury and Matchroom, and he's thought they're not for me. And he's gone with
Yeah.
Dave White. That's what's gone on. And it's in front of our eyeballs. He's got Ring Magazine bought. He's got 10% of the zone. He's got a seat at the big table. He's a big player now, and he's probably the main guy. They're
Yeah.
all on
And
the
that
back foot. They're all on the back foot now. They're like jilted, aren't they, at the altar?
Yep, and that's why they keep talking. I've seen it from Spotty Frank as well in the past week, saying, "Oh, I'm going to get a tiki bar in Hawaii or somewhere and just retire." You don't realise how difficult life is. I'm on planes, trains, automobiles, and everything, and you know. And then a week before, his boss was saying the same thing. Their noses have been put out of joint. The only thing I will say is, Eddie Hills had been saying he was going to retire for years. Like he made no secret of the fact in interviews that like he said, I don't want to be an old man in boxing. I don't want to be this cynical mess like Bob Arum is, like Frank Warren is and all that. So if he does retire, at least he stayed true to a word from like 10 years ago. But all of this is, like you say, put their noses out of joint. And I agree with you. All the infighting. And the big daddies turn around and gone, nah, these ain't my kids. I'm going to go with someone with a bit of integrity.
Right, James, look at it like this. If you're having it off and you're earning all these you're getting your fighters these big purses, and you're taking your slice of cake, it all trickles down to Matchroom, and then it'll trickle down to Frank Smith and Eddie. They're having it off, and then all of a sudden, that's gone. And you then got to put graft on and put your own money into shows. Once you've been treated like that, and because don't forget, they've been putting all the shows on the Saudis. They've just turned up. They're the promoters and that. They're getting their
Hmm.
slice at cake, but they're not having to put their hands in the pocket for the shows. Oh, it's all free gratis, that, isn't it? Now they've got to
Yeah,
go back to the beginning and they're all going to compete against each other. They just haven't got the fight for it, have they now? Because they've looked at it and thought, let's quit while we're ahead and come back when the landscape changes. That's what's happened. That's what's gone on. I can see
yeah,
it in front of my eyeballs. They don't want to be also rans. They want to be top dogs, but they're
yeah,
not. Big Top will stay in sport. Matchroom, they'll do what they did years ago when Chris Eubank Senior got finished. When he was finished, basically when he were washed up.
yeah,
They didn't really do that. They were putting odd shows on with Tony Dodson and blah de blah. They weren't really doing anything spectacular. They were treading water, weren't they? And that's what
yeah,
they might do. They might tread water. But Frank Smith's probably looked at it and thought, why do I want to be at your call on a Friday night with some English title or whatever when I can be, on a beach somewhere? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
With my money invested and all that. That's how they're looking at it now. That's how they're talking. Do you know what I mean? It's not, we're not hearing this, we're going to take over the world talk, are we? Like when they were going to take
No,
over America and blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen, did it?
no. Like I said, I said this a couple of weeks ago. You know, Frank will say in boxing, Bricktop, because he's a boxing promoter.
Yeah, of
Eddie
course.
Hearn's a
Yeah.
sports promoter. Eddie Hill's a sports promoter, not just a boxing promoter. He's got options, but he's also got a lot of people that can run things for him. Why would you get your hands dirty if you don't need to? Him and Bazza, you know, Epstein, they take the cut and then get everybody else to do the hard graft and go and like you just said then sit on a beach somewhere. He's got his lovely bit of Australian fluff now, hasn't he? And just do what he wants to do and watch the money roll in. Why do you need the stress?
Okay, what do you think to these purses that they're talking about for this boxing league for Turkey and Dana White? What's your take on all that, James?
Uh, Furnish me with that information, Russ. I haven't seen anything on purses.
Well, it looks like there's so much for these if you win and blah. Blah. It looks like it's all performance related. Personally, I think all we're going to see is just another promotional outfit doing boxing, just like the rest of them. That's how I look at it, and that's what we want. Eddie's saying he relishes the challenge on a
Mm,
Monday, then on a Tuesday he's like, oh, I might bail out, you know, 'cause
yeah,
so it's all a bit up and down. Personally, I'd like to see Eddie. I'd like to see Eddie fight and take Dana White on. That's what
yeah.
I'd
I
like to
think,
see. I'd like to see it. You know what it is? Do you know
yeah,
when you've had everything all your life, your own way? You go into school in a white. You see, Eddie went to school in a white limousine, an American Cadillac long limousine thing. The registration THE 147S. Eddie used to get
mhm,
took to school in that by that fat Robbo, the driver, right? So he's had everything on a plate all his miserable little life, silver spoon kid, right? He can turn around and say he's turned it gold, but he had a Sky deal on his lap because they had the
yeah,
darts. You see where I'm coming from? And all they were
yeah,
doing behind the scenes was sticking knifing on Bricktop. But Bricktop didn't cover himself in glory.
no,
The straw that broke the camel's back was Ricky Burns against Nicky Cook. That fight finished Bricktop at Sky. That were his downfall, right?
yeah. He was a
The
mess.
jug They dug Nicky Cook up, didn't they? Right, who were
Yeah,
18 months on a beach in Tenerife. They dug him
with a
up,
bad back.
put him in with a journeyman, then give him a number 11 ranking with WBO. Right, they
Yeah,
dug him up. Right, that was his undoing. That was his undoing. Ed Robinson hung him at Sky for that. Yeah, Ed Robinson was a big mover and shaker then, and Adam Smith
yeah.
stuck knife in. Now. Look at Adam Smith now, hanging around shows, waiting to say goodbye to George Warren.
What
What?
do they?
What?
What do they say? What do
Adam
they say?
Smith had his knee with Eddie. They both had the knees on Bricktop's neck 10 year.
Yeah.
Now look at
Well,
Adam Smith. Look at him now. Oh, I'm just
yeah.
waiting to say goodbye to George Warren. An hour later, he's still stood there.
They say, don't they? Be careful on the way up who you're nasty to because you'll meet him again on the way down. Um,
Oh, that's what you're up against, mate. That's what you're up against. On the back foot.
I would like to see him take on Dana White, Eddie Hills, because he's got the front and bullshit for it. You know what I mean? He's got more front than Blackpool, hasn't he? But you know, let's face it, he's a multi millionaire now. Has he got the stomach for it? He's probably achieved everything that he's wanted to do. He can say that he had a heavyweight champion in the world, and he made a shitload. You know, he's lived the dream really. And like you said there, the going's got proper tough. Underneath the veneer of absolute bullshit, has he really got anything else? Is there substance?
Listen, this is how I look at it, right? We've got here 15 minutes left. But I'll take it apart at chess. What I'd like to do, but I'll keep my counsel. Uh, Listen, Eddie's not going anywhere at the moment with that stable in the UK. I know people keep emailing me going, Porky, stop digging Eddie out. He's stronger than ever. Well, who's he got? I'm not interested in anybody in Australia or Mexico or a couple of Yanks like Devin Haney who's been exposed. I'm not interested
Mhm.
in that. I'm interested in who's he got in UK. He's got Joshua, who's scared of his own shadow, and they don't put him in with anybody. And he's got Crusher Ben. They're his big stars, right? Dillian White's with Queensbury now, isn't he?
Mhm.
Right? Who has he got? Who has he got? Who's Eddie got now? Who has he got? Eddie Hill! Hill! 7-0, Iceman from Billericay. Five by way of, course. But we've got no fucking footage.
No.
Who has he got,
And
James? Tell me who has he got? Who has he got?
I mean, I said, didn't I? He's got Dalton Smith, and that's probably like his biggest
What? Dalton
acquisition.
Plankwood Smith.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Dalton Smith, shall I, right? Dalton Smith is everything that Eddie can't stand about boxing because he's not engaging. He's
Yeah.
not engaging Dalton Smith. So no, if he walked down, if Dalton Smith, right, walked down Oxford Street in London, right,
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, when they turn the lights on or whenever, nobody would know who he is. Nobody even knows who he is in Sheffield Town Centre on a Saturday
No.
night. Nobody would know him. So forget him.
No.
Forget him. You've got Big Meech, Anthony Joshua, who's been knocked about. He's been down on the floor. Is it 10 times? Should be 11.
Yeah.
He's had 10 counts, right? He's been beat 4 times out of his last 10 fights. He's shot to pieces, scared of his own shadow. He's had God knows how many trainers. And then he's got Crusher Ben, who's never won an area, an English, a British, a Commonwealth, European, or a world title. So he's never won a belt. Right. Crusher Ben has never won a belt of them 6 level belts there. So what's he got? He ain't got anybody at UK, has he? It's a load of
No,
old
he hasn't.
pony. Absolute pony. What he's got.
Yep.
So he's finished as far as I'm concerned at UK. I'm bothered about the UK. He's finished.
He's got he's got the one more check before Ben hopefully gets absolutely ironed out. And even then, they'll probably try and wring a rematch out of the flannel. You know what I mean? They'll make up some bullshit about because I mean Eubank he got a rematch, didn't he, when he got smashed by Liam Smith? So they can make it happen. Boxing's bizarre. Like stranger things have happened. Like Dillian White being with Queensbury. Who'd have ever thought that would have happened? He did nothing to help himself or that promotion for Tyson Fury, did he? And now they've taken him on.
Yeah. Max has just sent me some. Do you know Max, aka
Yeah,
Hercules?
indeed.
Women love him, men want to be him. Big Max says that Dennis McCann's B sample is supposed to be getting tested on the 22nd of March. So that's going to be interesting. So what day are we on today? 20th. So that'll
Funny.
be Saturday. Why was we testing it on a Saturday? Well, according to Max, but Max gets a lot of things wrong, doesn't he, Max? Max is big on this drug thing because he's dead against performance enhancing drugs. Like
Yeah,
myself, because when you've got somebody like Piers Morgan, and I feel really let down by Piers Morgan because you think somebody of his ilk will get stuck into Crusher Ben instead of doing his mate Nigel a favour because his mate's with father. Look,
yeah,
Ben's failed 2 drug tests, right? For allegedly it's a masking agent in it, clomiphene.
yep.
Right. So they've got this masking agent in his body that's illegal and a banned substance. So that's in his system, and it's obviously in his system to cover up what he's been doing. He's linked to that Dr. Usman, who's knee deep
Hmm.
in it, right?
Yep.
And Piers Morgan didn't mention Usman once, or that it were a masking agent. All he said was, well, it were found in your system on it, and he went, oh, I don't like to talk about it, and I'm not here to answer questions. Look, he didn't go after him. They've said
Yeah.
Carl Froch is interviewing him. We haven't seen that interview yet, so we can't judge Carl Froch on that. But when we do see the interview, then we can judge the Cobra on it if he's asking the proper questions. I'd like to think that the Cobra would, with being a clean fighter himself. I'd like to think he could
Yeah.
not go after him, but just say, look, it's in your system. How's it got in your system? This is just a very, very simple question.
Yeah.
Everybody in boxing who's a license holder, right, who's not attached to Conor Benn, wants Eubank to knock fuck out of him. Wants them to get him like that and knock smoke out of him. That's what they want.
Because they're sensible.
If I was to put out there the people that I've spoke to who are license holders, former champions at all levels, area, English, British, Commonwealth, European, and world, that say to me every other day, we hope Eubank knocks the smoke out of him, right? That's the general feeling because they're getting millions of pounds and he's a drug cheat. And if he were Conor Smith, he wouldn't be getting $5 for this fight if he were Conor Smith,
No.
right? So they've milked it and milked it and milked it. And let me tell you this, do you know when anything like this happens, everybody's forgetting, right, that when all's said and done, it's a welterweight against a former super middleweight world champion. That's the bottom
Yeah.
line. You can pump him up to 154 like last 3 year or 160, but it's a welterweight. And he's on about going back to welter as well against a former IBO super middleweight guy. He could get knocked about. He could get damaged. Now, hasn't anybody listened to and thought about when Kell Brook fought Golovkin at 160? Everybody's forgetting
Clearly
now.
not.
They're all sweeping it away. They're all sweeping it away. He could get really took apart by Eubank. Do you sit right? Let me just say this to you. If it were Liam Smith going against Conor Benn now, what would we all be saying?
Smith would absolutely pulverise him, mate.
Yeah. Or if it were before Shiraz has just had that bad performance against the Dames, if it was Shiraz against Conor Benn, what would everybody be saying?
He'll kill him.
Right, there you go. So we've got a kid here, Eubank, and I've seen him spar Carl Froch, right? And
Yeah.
a long time ago, 11 years ago, but Eubank's on the slide, but there's enough in that tank to knock him about him because he's still raw in Ben. He's been spoon fed because of his name. What they've done to Ben is done a better job with him than they did with Campbell Hatton. A better job.
Yeah, of course they have. Of course they have.
Campbell
Yeah.
Hatton didn't have the devil in him. Ben's got a little bit of the devil in him, but he's a bit more marketable because he's got a bit of edge to him, hasn't he? You see where I'm
Yeah.
coming from? Right.
Ricky Allen was too nice, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
but the bottom
he's following
line
on
is
from
this,
that.
right? Eubank could end up really damaging that kid. I mean, and really knocking him about. And people need to get ready because when fight, I always say this, and people give me loads of stick for it. Fighters are not superheroes. We have weight divisions, James, for a reason. If we didn't,
He's gonna.
Paddy McGuigan would have been fighting Frank Bruno, wouldn't he? Nazim Ahmed would have fought Lennox Lewis. If we
Yeah.
didn't have weight divisions for that simple reason. Nazim Ahmed had his nose bust in sparring off Clifton Mitchell up at Ingleton, right? So Naz got stuck into him after that, right? But that's just like sparring and gym stories. You weren't gonna get you were never gonna get out like that in a proper fight, an heavyweight against a featherweight, are you? Do you see what I'm
No,
going?
Carl
They're not
Thompson.
superheroes, are they?
Yeah, didn't Carl Thompson run after Nads? He was annoying him, wasn't he? There was a bit with the 9X, well,
No,
the MEN,
no, he didn't.
and
Go on, go on, go
did he
on,
not?
go on.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sure he was pissing him off, and Carl Thompson just turned around to him and said, "Look, I'm going to hurt you in a bit, and your missus is only with you for the money. Like, if you don't shut up, I'm going to smack you all over the place." That's what I heard.
No, that ain't true. What happened were, right,
Hmm.
the WBO, right, sent a limousine for Calzaghe, Carl Thompson, and Naz to go to this WBO function. So they're in this limo, and Naz
Yeah.
were giving it the big un. Joe Calzaghe was sat there quiet, and Carl Thompson, after 2 hours in a limousine with Nazim Mohammed, turned around and said, "Fuck you, because you're doing me head in, Naz." Because all for this 2 hours, Naz were like, "I'm this, I'm that. Carl, you should be doing this. Carl, you should be doing that." But Carl Thompson is like a really quiet kid. He's
Yeah.
not bothered about all the limelight and all that. He's just a genuine nice fella. And he's not
Yeah.
into all this giving it the large. So after 2 hours having that, and let me tell you this, I've met Naz, and he pissed a lot of people off in South Yorkshire. That's why he had to leave South Yorkshire, let me tell you. That's why
Yeah.
he lives down in Berkshire now, doesn't he? He pissed a lot of
Yeah.
people off. Dennis has had a grip of him. Oh, Dennis put
Totally.
it on him. Yeah, Big Ron put it on him. Yeah, he pissed a lot of people off, right? But Carl Thompson turned around after 2 hours of having him in his hero, and he said, "Listen here, you, stop telling me what to do. You," he says, "This is a true story." He said, "Because if I want to do this or do that, I'll just grab you like with them big jug ears of yours and lift you up like European Cup." Our FA Cup, it was something like that, and I'll just wring your neck. It was something like that. He lost his rag with Naz,
Mm.
like Carl Thompson. And he said, "I'll just fucking grab you by your ears and lift you up, you jug ears little." It was something like that, but can you imagine somebody who was quiet like Carl having him in his ear?
Yeah.
"Oh, Carl, you need to be doing this, you need to." And eventually snapped.
Yeah. The dog
That's in
snaps eventually.
Calzaghe's book, that, and I think Calzaghe, he will like, he was like in the middle of him, like, wow, what's going on here? But you know what,
Yeah.
Nas were a bit full of himself, and he used to put himself around, obviously near where I'm from, put himself about all the time because he was a bit, thought he were 10 men, and Big Johnny
Yeah.
Horsecock were his driver, weren't you? Johnny Horsecock used to go take Naz's cars for valet. And Naz said to Bricktop, "Get Johnny a world title." So they did.
Yeah.
They shafted Carl Thompson, didn't they? Do you remember?
Yeah. They
What,
did.
what did Ring Magazine say? The worst ever stoppage they've ever seen in their lives. Carl
Yeah.
Thompson retired after that fight. He was absolutely devastated. Isn't that right, Horsecock? Horsecock, right? It's the worst CV I've ever seen in my life for anybody who were a world champion 7 year. Absolute shocking,
Mm.
shocking CV. But Carl Thompson was shafted that night. But yeah, he
If it,
said around to Nazareth, "Shut your mouth, I'll just lift you up like FA Cup or at European Cup, jug ears or so." He said it was something like that, but he'd been in his ear all night. Been in his ear.
well,
But,
thank you for telling me.
hey?
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, I thought I'd put that out to you. He's not my cup of tea, him, Naz. He's not my cup of tea whatsoever. No, no. Do you know why? I'm not going to say the kid's name, but I know a kid who were at that gym, and
Mm.
he went to school with one of my pals, and he, I can't explain it. Naz used to nip this kid. He was a bit pudgy, and you don't expect this from a world champion. He'd go by and he'd nip him, and
Bullying,
Naz
basically.
would tell him that he was shit and stuff like that, and he'd say, "What,
Mm.
like you?" And he'd nip him, and he was a bit of a bully, like, and because he were riding high, earning millions of pounds and all that, he sort of like got above his station. He was turning up at that gym, and he'd turn up at I'm training at 2 a.m. and that, that kind of thing, thinking he was
Yeah.
Mayweather type, and
Yeah.
everybody were pandering to him, you know what I mean? And I think eventually it caused that much unrest there. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's like, get out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bugger off.
and it has a knock-on effect to everybody else in the gym because nobody is better than anybody else. Well, that's what the Ingles used to push, didn't they? But now
Yeah.
they're getting away with murder because
Yeah.
they were
Cool.
all getting paid, weren't they? Do you know what I mean, kind of thing?
Like
So
Mike
it had
Tyson
a, it
growing
had a
up.
knock-on effect. It had a knock-on effect in in
Yeah.
in, in the area, and people were like, eventually, in the end, people were like, "God, piss
Piss off.
off, piss off, you little
Yeah.
prick." And now look at him. What was somebody saying the other day to me from up there? Somebody from Gleedless were telling me they know the mates one of his brothers. He's 20 stone, isn't he now? 20 stone. 19,
Wow.
19 stone, 12, something. Nearly 20 stone. What is he, 5'3" or something?
5 foot, yeah, 5'4", I think.
Something like that. Yeah, fat as a pig Michelin man. So
Yeah,
good luck to him with that. And his sons can't fight either. The son I've seen. What happened to his big career? We were going to do this and going to do that. What happened to him?
I know. They've obviously they've got to protect him, haven't they? And he's been in with a nobody.
Isn't
So
it? Well, what is he still fighting? One of
yeah,
his kids is going to be the next world champion. Load of shit.
I know. Yeah,
Load of
nepotism in
shit.
boxing. It's just nepotism in boxing. It's never going to go well when you're getting punched in the face, is it? Really? So
No, it isn't. Right, we're out of time, kid. It's the big chess tournament now. Pop, pop, bang.
all right, been a pleasure, mate. You take care.
Listen, thanks for coming on, James. We always have a giggle, don't we?
Yeah, indeed,
Uh,
indeed,
you what?
indeed, we do.
Yeah, well,
Say
I know
hello
you
to
like me
your.
to roast. I know you like me to roast you, don't you? And I should do really, because you're always fucking talking over me, you knobhead.
I'm a bit of a
Know what I
prick,
mean,
and I.
how's your remapped wheelchair anyway?
It's all right, mate. It's all right. I've tightened a few bolts and that, so we're ready to go for round two with that big chested lady. So we'll see how
Yeah,
things go.
James, don't be coming out with stuff like that on here, man. It's a family show.
Sorry, mate.
When's your next date with this with Dolly Parton? When's your next date?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
How
I'll
did
be
you
sure
meet
to let you
her?
know. How?
Yeah.
There's another one of them sites, wasn't it?
What disabled websites?
No, no,
Dating.
not disabled. This one. No, this was just like, people. Yeah, just normal dating. Seems all right, to be fair. I've told her about the blue badge, and she's quite happy. She's thinking of the benefits, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Is there any chance you could get me you could say your badge has gone missing and give me and get a new one and give me one of it so I can fucking park where I want?
Yeah, probably.
All right then,
See you
mate.
later,
Well,
mate.
listen, you take care, James. All the best. Right.
And you. See you later, pal.
Right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Right. Well, that was James from Essex, living in Salford. Women love him. Men don't want to be him. I'm joking. He's all right, James, and he's a good laugh, isn't he? That's about it. I'm steaming off that gym. Right, quick shower and quick game of chess and quick shut eye. Right, dripping tap. I'll see you tomorrow, kid. Hope you're well, kid. All right, big shout out to the drip. When are you coming back on? I'm going to put it on you tomorrow, mate. When are you coming back on Porky's Corner? Because you was the one who said Conor Benn is on the gear. And I got so much abuse for it. And then 6 months later, what happened? It'd been popped twice. So dripping, we need you to come and do a Zoom. All right? And I'll speak to you tomorrow when I get back. Pop, pop, bang. Peace out.